Hey everybody, Bryan here again for another walk and talk. Lovely Friday afternoon, a little windy, kind of getting tired of that. The temperature's good. I'm over here at the Dupont Y. There's a trail that goes all the way around the place, around the farm as well. I'm going to stop and look at the chickens later on. It's one of my familiar haunts. I'll be doing the loop today, but I might divert a little bit, try a different path for just a little while, and come back around and come back to my starting place. This location is found in what I will call the northern side of Fort Wayne, Indiana. Nice little place, lots of hills. It's a really nice walk. So, I would normally be at school right now, but last day was Wednesday, and quite a day that was. We got a good little ceremony for the 5th graders. Parents showed up. It was nice to see them. Got through the day. Not a lot of tears for me. There was a point early on during the ceremony where, I don't know, I kind of got lost in it. A lot of smiling, a lot of clapping. Try my best to keep it in, and I did. Though, if someone were paying real close attention to me, they would know that my eyes were pretty welled up with tears. Didn't have to leave though. All in all, it was a pretty good day. Now, the last episode I talked a bit about what I'll call cruelty. Cruelty in how the students are treated by way of their work, and how teachers will use recess to leverage that, to take it away when things are not finished. I still feel that that is a form of unnecessary cruelty to do that to a kid, because I don't believe it's the teacher's time to manipulate. I also talked about the wall of shame. Didn't get your stuff done, get your name on the wall. Everyone gets to see who's not doing their work. I don't see the value in that. I think that is also kind of mean-spirited, and I would never do that. But there's something that happened Monday that I want to talk about, kind of continuing the discussion of what's proper, what is good discipline, and what is just being mean. So to set the stage, I'll talk about what happened Monday morning. That was field day. It was awesome. I spent my morning with kindergarten, 1st and 2nd grade. I ran a station, a little bit of the classic egg rally where you have a spoon and an egg and you have to go all the way down to the cone, walk around it one time, come back, give it to your teammate. They do the same thing. The difference was the entire event, all the field day festivities, were inspired by first responders. So think emergency response teams and ambulances, police officers, firefighters. It's a good cause, and they inspired a lot of these activities. So instead of an egg, we had these little squishy hearts and ladles. We were taking the ladles with the hearts on them and going around. Every little heart said something kind of clever about heart health and being good to your body and everything. So it was a lot of fun. Did that for about 2.5 hours, I believe. Rotated between all the grades at that level, all the classes within those grades. After that was finished up, the 5th graders were still doing their thing. And I wasn't quite sure where they're located, so I wandered around the area. And eventually discovered they're at a nearby park. So I went over to the park and saw them there. It was kind of like I don't know how to describe it other than, hey, we finished up, we have some time, let's go have some fun. We'll bring some games, some balls, footballs, frisbees, lawn games, things like that. So I got there, and there's a pavilion, and there were a few kids in there just kind of sitting in the shade. Teachers were in there because they are notoriously distant from the kids when it comes to these things. They don't like to play with them for some reason. I do. So I get to the pavilion, and a very special student to me was sitting there looking rather sad. She and another student who was sitting at the other side of the pavilion had these clipboards. And on the clipboards were, as you might guess, unfinished work. And it already got me a bit angry. I don't think that's proper, as I mentioned, but there they were, complying with the wishes of the teacher. Same teacher, by the way. So when I got there to kind of assess what's going on with all the kids, I try to make a decision as to what to do about, what I'm going to get involved with, because the kids were going to be there for a while. Their next task wasn't going to be for a few hours. So I figured they'd be there for at least another 45 minutes to an hour. So I thought, well, let's get out there and start playing with the kids. But I couldn't ignore this one particular student who we have a really great rapport and worked well together all season, had a lot of fun, spent a lot of time together on recess, playing with each other and having good discussions and just talking about the future. And I couldn't get over the look on her face when I arrived. Just this forlorn, melancholy, just supreme sadness. So, without making the teacher mad, I walked over there and sat down and said, "Hey, how you doing, kid?" And in a very nervous, brink of tears, warbly voice, she said, "I can't play because I have to finish this assignment." She didn't have to say anything more because I knew what was going on. And that anger I had became more like a sadness. I just really felt bad for her. And sure, that assignment could have been done in due time, but the problem was she had missed a couple days for family issues. Her grandmother had gotten ill. They took her to the hospital, and during that time in the hospital, she had a heart attack. Thankfully, she's going to be okay. She's on some heavy medication, but that rattled this girl. And she and I have talked about her grandmother in the past. This is the first time she's had a heart attack. And just to further paint the stage here, at least as it concerns she and I, she will divulge information and share what I would call privileged information with me voluntarily, without any provocation, without any pretext or any sort of encouragement. She just kind of let it out. Again, a case of being a trusted adult and feeling comfort in sharing the information. So I know all about this already, and it's merely just gotten worse. So because of those factors, she didn't get certain work done. And again, this is tedious work. I've talked about this before. Just tedious worksheets. And the writing of and the specific thing that she didn't finish was a rewriting of a fairy tale. Take a familiar fairy tale, let's say, Three Little Pigs, rewrite it from the perspective of one of the characters not necessarily focused on heavily. So, for example, in the story Three Little Pigs, if you want to rewrite the story from the point of view of the wolf, you could do that. If you want to rewrite Humpty Dumpty from the point of view of the king, all the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't put the rotund egg man back together again. Well, she hadn't finished that. So rather than just give her that day to, finalize her time with other students and friends whom she'll never see again, likely, she had to get that paperwork done. As did this other boy who, different story with him, he's perpetually unmotivated and, according to the teacher, rather lazy. Back to the girl. I felt for her for a number of reasons. One, she's, someone I consider very special. And to see her in that position of just pure sadness, it just got to me. So what I did was, I said, hey, I know this is rough work. I'm not a fan of it myself. And I don't like seeing you over here, but, just plug away at it. Just do whatever you can, and I'll see you in a bit. Then I did something that I admit might be a bit much. But in that moment, I really didn't show too much concern. I gave her something. I gave her a bracelet that I was wearing. I said, here, go ahead and wear this. I've been wearing it for you anyways. So to kind of set the stage and show context here, all year I've been wearing different bracelets, little elastic banded bracelets that have little ceramic images, or ceramic bits that have images on them, like the sun, moon, earth, mountain, campfire, ocean wave. They're really cool. So like every other day I'll wear a different little icon. Like if it's a sunny day, I've got the sun out there. If I feel like I'd rather be at the beach, maybe I'll wear the wave. One of them was the shooting star, because I have some that show like spacey things. Well, she had noticed that one a long time ago, and she asked to have it. I said, well, I can't really give it to you. But I like that you like it, because it's a star, and I think of you as a star. So I've worn it plenty of times this season. And that particular day, I happened to be wearing that one alongside a bracelet that had a mountain on it. It sounded like the mountains. And it just hit me in that moment. I needed to make her happy. I needed to make her encouraged and feel some positivity. So I said, look, here you go. I passed it over to her. She grabbed it. She didn't smile. She just kind of looked at it. I got up and said, I'll see you in a bit. Pat her on the shoulder. Basically, hey, you got this, kid. And I walked off. As I walked away, I looked over my shoulder. I saw her put it on. It warmed my heart, to say the least. So I went out there to kind of play with the kids, and within 5 minutes, who do I see running over to me but her? Bright eyes, big smile. And we spent the rest of the time just playing some of the yard games and just enjoying the rest of the day. So she got the work done, which allowed her the privilege of doing what everybody else was doing. I'd like to think that I kind of saved her spirit, because I didn't put her in that seat. I didn't tell her to face the opposite way. I didn't do any of that. There's a dog over there, off the leash. I'm not sure why. As I suffer through the wind here, there's a path that goes this way. I can take it around the farm. I want to go to the chickens. This lady needs to get her dog. Side note, I don't like dogs. I actually have a strong disdain for them. I think they are just irritating animals to me. If you have a dog and you like it, fine. I don't. Tried it before twice, never connected, not my thing. The neighbors have dogs and I don't like them either. Anyways, this is Solomon Farms. It's a great little place to stop off if you do a long little walk around the premises. There's usually chickens in here. I'm going to guess they're kind of around the bend. Take a look around here. Yep, there they are. Sometimes I feed them clover and some flowers over here. Oh, this guy. Guy. Let me get some of this. Ouch. Probably shouldn't be doing this, but I eat this stuff all the time. Yeah, there's chickens all over the place. Ooh, that's a nice one back there. Never worked on a farm. I have limited experience with farms. Didn't really grow up that way. Oh, the little guy. I keep calling them guys. I'm not really sure. Yeah. It's a beautiful little place. Got a little garden there. Sandpipers all over the place, making noise. I like it. It's very cute. Kind of lost my train of thought there because the dog and then the chickens. So we played out there in the yard. Myself, she and I did some things. She went to play with some other kids. I, threw the ball with a few of them, and just had a nice time. I'm in those positions a lot where the teacher does one thing, then I have to make what I'll call a moral judgment on what to do in response. A lot of times, everything's okay. A lot of times I walk in lockstep with the teacher because we're utilizing the same desire to keep the kids safe, to get them motivated enough to do their work and finish their priorities and things like that, and make a non-hostile workplace, as I might put it. But when times like this come up, I really struggle. I just don't think it's proper. I don't think it's proper for a teacher to hold a kid hostage because of their work. I just don't think it's right. And here's something else to think about. This particular girl I'm talking about, whom I'm very fond of, and I will miss for a very, very long time. She has nothing on her rap sheet. Absolutely nothing at all. Not a minor, not a referral, nothing at all. She has been a wonderful, kind, soft-spoken, sweet-hearted kid her entire time in the school, which has been, as far as I can tell, at least 6 years. So I've seen pictures of her in kindergarten and first grade, and now finishing her time in 5th, moving on to middle school. But there were kids who were playing that day who had gotten their work done, but a number of them have disciplinary measures on their history. A number of referrals. And if you don't know what a referral is, it's basically a document that acts as a paper trail of disciplinary action. that was necessary. Let's say the kid got in a fight. All right, you write a referral, send it to the office, and who knows what the heck happens to it. It goes into the record, so when there's a parent-teacher conference or perhaps a meeting with a school psychologist for the sake of a IEP or a behavioral intervention plan, we could go back and say, well, on these dates, this student did this, that, and the other. There was a student who did not show up for field day. She is someone I also worked with closely, someone I'm fond of, but she has severe issues with emotional regulation, maintaining tasks, and needs a lot of help with getting stuff done. In other words, not a particularly great, conscientious worker, independent worker. Whenever assignments go out, she's the first one to say, Mr. Bryan, can you help me with this? And I'm happy to help, don't get me wrong. But I gotta be real here. Her work would not be finished if it weren't for me. If I wasn't there to help her along, to give her encouragement, to guide her without doing the work for her, she wouldn't have the work done. If she had shown up that day, she would have been able to play. Why? Because her work is done. Why? Because she's had help, extensive help. So it's a tale of two students. One who has a pristine history, and never been an issue for anybody. Another one who has been a bit of an issue every single year. But because she got the work done, she would have been able to play. This is a student who has had, last time I checked, upwards of 26 referrals just this season alone. So if I count last school season, add another 20 or so, maybe more. I don't know. But there's no standard for this. There just isn't. It's what the teacher seems to think is proper. So it's inconsistent. If you're a great kid and you struggle with the work, we're going to punish you. If you are a handful and you cause problems for others, including the adults, you're perfectly fine if you get the work done. Because then the talk becomes, well, they have legitimate struggles, let's not rock the boat. I see. And as much as I am fond of these kids, irrespective of their background, irrespective of what they deal with on a daily basis and the internal, I don't like punishing kids for what I would call trivial matters. Especially if every other step of the way you've been wonderful. You've been sweet and kind and helpful and not a burden on the adults in the room or the school at large. You haven't torn the heck out of a classroom. You haven't thrown chairs. You haven't punched people. You haven't punched kids 4 grades underneath you. Those are the kids I want to be lenient with. But no, certain teachers think that because you aren't getting your work done, they can take everything from you. I find that to be a discouragement. It doesn't help. I mean, how would you feel? Let's say something happened, you're having trouble with an assignment, and the person you want to work with is no longer in your classroom, which was my case, and you struggle, and you have a hard time with making sense of the work, and then you start to collapse inward. You feel down about yourself, you don't think you can do it, You have no encouragement there other than just do it, do it, do it. And then you have to pay for it when the fun things happen. Some of you might be, well, if you can't get the work done, you don't get the rewards. I get this. I do. But there's a time and a place for everything. It needs to be balanced. There's a nice little pond that looks over at the Y over there. There's a way to get down there. There are a few paths to reach that area, but I don't really care to go down there. So let's get back on the path over here. I kind of want to be down here anyways. The road noise is getting to me. If you think about it this way, it's the final week of school. There's 3 days left, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Field day, everyone does it. The extra stuff, okay, I can see how a teacher might say, well, this is extra stuff. We can take it away from you. We'll call this free time, which means teachers can manipulate how they want. I still think it's crappy, but that's what they do. It's just when you look at the kids in the macro, you take a distant walk away from them, you look at them and their body of work. 2 students, one has a rap sheet, the other doesn't. The one with the rap sheet gets the work done, but with a lot of help. The other one doesn't get a lot of help and is going through some hard times that get in the way of that. No fault of her own. So rather than give her a different sort of time to get things done, she has to give up one of the last remaining times when she can work with another, play with other students. I just think that's a crappy thing to do. Well, tell me what you think. If you're a teacher, is that something you employ? Do you presume power over a child's recess? Do you think that's your opportunity to get your hands in there and rip that time away from students? If you did not watch the last episode, I gave 2 reasons why a kid could be removed from recess. One, voluntarily, by their own accord. If they want to get their work done, maybe they have a project they really, really want to get into, they want to give up the recess, fine, they can make that claim. 2, if they are being a threat to themselves or others. Physical violence, being antagonistic, sure, because you're removing them from the situation. It's not taking recess away, it's removing them from a volatile situation for the sake of safety and security. You got to be right on it. You can't just be reckless with your discipline, because there's emotion involved there. Discipline and emotion, they don't get along well very often. You have to take both into account. And I think it should be worth saying now that I'm a pretty lenient person. I don't like to bark, I don't like to yell, I don't like to scream across the playground like the teachers and other folks do. I immerse, I walk, I get in the proximity. I don't get too close where I'm getting in their way, but I'm there in the center. I look around. We have these teachers, they find a spot far away, and they huddle as a mass, sometimes pulling out their phones, which I don't know how you consider that to be observant or a monitor in that situation. That's what they do. I did it last season. It gave me a lot of frustration. Maybe I'll talk about that another time. But this situation, it's yet another case of holding what a student has earned hostage because the teacher seems to think It's their freedom to manipulate and take away from the student. Funny how that works. You know, the last few days of school were interesting for me personally. I had an expectation based upon last season. Now, last season, the very last day, there were a lot of tears. I mean, I would walk down the hallway and there would be a huddle of, 3 or 4, maybe 5 girls, just all sobbing. This group of 5th graders I've been working with, and across the board, all the student body, they're a fantastic group. They're very close. Not a lot of non-overlapping friendships there. I think they were a close-knit group, even though they're split up by 3 different tiers. I didn't see a lot of tears. It was almost like they treat it like any other day. Now, what I do admit is that, and this was it was hard for me to watch. Part of the reason why it kept me on the verge of tears, drippy tears. There's a girl that I think is very nice. She's funny, she's creative, great student, tries her best. A lot of fun on recess too. She was up there getting her award because if you hit certain milestones during your time, you get a certificate, special awards, all that good stuff. You get to be in front of the whole group. Well, as she was coming around the corner with her class, because they receive these things one at a time, I noticed she was, not looking so good. Very, very sad. Because I think she was making that realization that this is it. Your last day at school, it's time to move on to bigger challenges. So it was hard for me to see that because I felt what she was feeling. And it brought me to tears too. Because it is final. That's it. In a young kid's life, let's say age, somewhere between 10 and 12, there aren't a lot of milestones that you can look back on in that short period of time and go, oh, this was a big change for me. Not really. But this is one of the first. Bigger school, more responsibilities. There's a cop on the premises. You got to zip, bang, boom between your classes. It's a big deal. And I think she was realizing that, even though, a few months of summer vacation were coming, which is normally a fun time, but maybe not for her. Yeah, that was tough to see. After all the kids had gotten their awards and all the speeches were made, the parents got up and mingled with the students, and the students mingled with other students and other parents, and it was a nice little time. It was a special time. Some of the kids left right away. They were allowed to leave if the parents wanted to take them out, which some of them did. Sadly, I didn't get to see some of them go before I could tell them goodbye. And that was tough for me, because I made some really good connections. How should I put it? Getting over a lot of obstacles that were apparent from the get-go with some of these kids. Breakthroughs, that's what I'm thinking of. Some of my personal favorites got their stuff and left. Didn't really say goodbye to myself, but that's okay. This is their time. This is their world, their celebration, their time.
Yeah, but still. It's still also too.
And it got me thinking about next season. How am I going to change? How can I improve for next season? What can I do better? And that should be on everyone's mind when you're working in a system like this, where you're only working for a certain amount of time per year, and you have this big layover. And you start again. Fresh faces, new configuration of kids, maybe even teachers. You have to reinvent yourself, because you must have learned something in the prior season to help you be a better worker this time around. And for me, I think it's time for me to be a little more vocal. Start defending the things that I believe to be true. Starting with communication. You have to be able to communicate. I spent an entire school season not being given proper information, having to find out through word of mouth what the heck is going on, being given a series of bad schedulings for how certain things would be that did not turn out the way they were supposed to. It was just a mess. And all the problems I had this season, the kids were not that. They had nothing to do with the problems. If anything, they were the counterbalance to a process, a system, a school season in chaos. Management could have been a lot better. Communication definitely better. For those of us who don't have the teaching licenses and don't have certification, that doesn't mean we're not worthy. Doesn't mean we can't be given information. If anything, we need to be given information so that we're remaining in the loop, so that we don't have to scrounge under the table, so to speak, for scraps, which is what happened all year. So that's something I'm going to have to adjust. Start defending myself and fellow classified workers who wander around not knowing what to do, not knowing what's going on, and who's pulling the strings on things. I've got a few months to think about that. In the meantime, I'm trying to procure another job to get me through the summer, since I'm not paid during this time. I was when I was a teacher, of course, but not now. So if you haven't noticed, I'm kind of redoing the loop. I got some time left on this video. Let's see if I can do 2 loops. Thought about going a different way, but there's no loop on the other aspects of this trail. What I'm on right now is just the loop. This is special to the Y and Solomon Farm back there. If you take it northward, what you're on is what's called the Puffer Belly Trail. There used to be a strong railroad presence here in the city, and the Puffer Belly was one of the trains that would ride this area. It would go north out of Fort Wayne. Well, the trail is mimicking that sort of effect. So if I went the other way there at the junction, northward, I would have been on the Puffer Belly Trail, and that goes way north into like Huntertown and Leo and all that. There's no loop. It's a straight shot. You have to turn around whenever you need to. The other direction is down Dupont, and then there's like grocery stores, restaurants. There's that sort of commerce and stuff going on down there. Sometimes I do. On Saturday morning, sometimes we'll take this walk, we'll avoid the loop, and just go down Dupont to get to a little bakery to have muffins and stuff. It's a lot of fun. if I wanted to, I could kind of cut this walk in half, go down this dirt path here, it goes right to the farm. That's fine. Cut through this field this way. I'm not sure where that goes. I've never done that before. Maybe I'll try that another time. I don't see any signage here, so I'm sure I'm allowed to. So Monday was a field day, as mentioned. Tuesday was a talent show. It's always fun for me to watch it. And it was no different this year. In fact, I think it was better this year than it was last year. We had some good attempts at demonstrating talent and showing off what they can do. Interestingly, I think when it came to like really interesting talent, the boys really did well with that. One happened to do some oil paintings. He had inspiration from a video game he liked and brought in a canvas, and he had shown off to everybody what he had painted. It was really nice, really good use of color and depth and darkness. Two boys used their computers to make stop motion animation, both using Lego. The first boy, he's a big Star Wars fan, and he sometimes talks to me about what he's been acquiring and some of the sets he's been working on. And he did this little battle scene with a bunch of stormtroopers and vehicles zooming around. He had a soundtrack to it, really dramatic soundtrack with all the pew 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 and all that stuff going on. It's really cool, impressive. The other boy, he had put together a Lego camera, and the stop motion animation was that thing being dismantled into little pieces and then coming back together again. Really creative. I liked it. The girls, some of them were on the stage multiple times. One was up there at least 3 times doing 3 different dances or songs or whatever. And that was the main focus for the girls. The dancing, sort of like cheerleading type dances, and then either singing or doing like if there's a particular song that has a choreographed dance to it, they would play the song and then do the dances from that, like a music video sort of expression. I mean, it was fine. What I found a bit awkward was the song choice across the board for the girls. Now, this is a generation that is completely enthralled by TikTok and social media, so their exposure to music is poor, not good at all. No versatility to what they're listening to. It's pure radio, sludge. And one of the girls, the one who had, cried on her way back to her seat during the ceremony, she sang a song by herself, and the lyrics were very suspect. I found it difficult to watch and listen to because these are innocent kids. I don't want to associate anything that adult with them. I find that to be gross. Yet the lyrics, and she was kind of rambling them off, not doing a true sing. She was just kind of reading the lyrics from the screen with the music and doing hand gesticulations for dancing. Some of the lines were pretty risque, not appropriate for elementary school. Some of the other kids were doing dances to songs, and those were I don't know what it is about girls nowadays, but they're really, they're pushing the envelope in the worst way possible. Let's put it that way. Wasn't really impressed. I liked their determination, their willingness to put themselves out there. I just wish the product were better. It got me thinking about next year. And yes, this is the kids' talent show. It's what they want to do, fine. But I think we as adults in the building should be encouraged to do something special with, certain students of our choice. Like, for example, if I wanted to do something really cool with one of the 5th grade boys, maybe I had an idea that would work well with this student, maybe I'll do that. That's what I did last year. If I didn't mention it, last year I had a one-on-one. Nice kid, really was. Sweet boy. But he had trouble with what I'll call attention. And I don't remember if I brought this up in a previous video, so forgive me if I have. The big thing for him is understanding what negative attention is and what positive attention is. So think of like a class clown personality. Doing goofy things, getting people's attention, pulling in laughs and all that. That's negative attention. It's not productive. It's likely to get you in trouble. Positive. Okay, well, you're helping other people out. You're raising your hand to get attention from the teacher. You're being a benefit to yourself, the teacher, or other students. That's positive attention. And it took me all season to get him to understand the differences there. But one thing I learned about him was that he has a performer's sort of personality. He has a knack for acting. And I asked him a few times that season, you ever think about getting into theater or performing in plays and things like that? He goes, you think I should do that? I go, yeah, I think you've got that in you. He goes, oh. Well, when the talent show time came around, about a month before, the teacher I'd been working with during that time had suggested, with what you said about him acting, I wonder if it's a good idea to maybe have him do a comedy routine. I'm like, yeah, you're right. So she suggested the classic Abbott and Costello Who's on First routine, and that's what we did. He chose a friend, and this, my one-on-one, he was Abbott, and his friend was Costello, or excuse me, the other way around. And we had the script, and we worked on it probably a good 15, 20 times before the talent show to get the timing down, the personality down, the cadence, the increasing level of frustration in Costello as he's trying to make sense of the names of the players on this team. So the talent show came around. The other kids, they tried their best. It just not a lot of what I would call talent was shown. But when these two boys did their thing, it was great. The teachers were laughing. The kids were having trouble making sense of the routine, but the boys did a great job. And I like to think that my one-on-one, he left that school on top. He had the attention. He had all eyes on him. He was at center stage. And I think that's what he was looking for the whole time. And it was a great idea to give him that, and it worked. And I saw him just a few weeks ago. The 5th graders from my school visited that school, and I happened to see him there. And I sat with him for a while and just talked, and was nostalgic for things, and asked him how he was, and he's doing great. No signs of those problems that I saw before. Seems he really grew out of it. Back again to the farm. I'm going to go this way, though, through this path. Yeah, I think next year I'm going to suggest we do like collaborative talent show things with certain students who have, maybe shown interest in performing arts or maybe theatrical efforts such as singing and acting and maybe even music, performing with instruments. I think that'd be a really nice touch. It would help us get through these awkward, poorly arranged things that just didn't. And I'm aware that these are the kid shows and activities and stuff. They choose what they want to do, and I'm fine with that. I think more guidance and encouragement to be really, really good, do something, significant on their way out of the door. I think that'd be great. So that's kind of on my list of the need to talk with the other staff about. So I never really talked to anybody after that to see, hey, what did you think of this? I'm curious about your feelings. Because I'm kind of convinced at this point that the teachers just blow everything off. They've done this before. It means nothing to them. They applaud and they smile and they move on to their next task. I get it. I think about these things and I'm considerate towards, doing the right thing and making things good and keeping quality in mind, not just quantity. So that constituted my week. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, a big chaotic mess of events and good things and bad things, and kind of a strange lack of proper goodbyes. But I am looking forward to next season. The oncoming 5th grade group, they're going to be a challenge. A lot of hot-headed kids, competitive basketball player types, which is one of my pet peeves. I don't like false bravado. I don't like boys who think they're all that. Because they're good at recess, because they're good with the basketball, that means they get special treatment. Not into that. I also don't like excessive drama. This is usually a girl thing, at least where I've been working. Some of the kids are just outright spiteful and mean towards each other for no real reasons. I think it's probably a response to home life infecting their frame of thinking. That's something that could be taught out. I get it. I'm going to have to spend extra time with those kids, for certain. But I did make some good connections this year with some of the 4th graders. They know who I am. They know what to expect next season. I think it's going to be okay. But I'm going to take a seat here. This little bench overlooking the farm and the field. This field right here, this is all sunflowers. You can come here and take pictures if you want, but you have to get permission. It's a very beautiful area. Beautiful little farm. They do a lot of events here. It's a great addition to this area. But I'm going to take a rest here. Just enjoy the weather while I can. And I will bid you a good farewell. I'll be thinking of other things to talk about from this past season. Please leave a comment if you have any ideas or any thoughts on what I've said. I know sometimes I can get controversial with stuff, but keep in mind it comes from the heart. Because I do care. Until next time, take care. I'll see you later.